Hey y'all, it's Base Ed Dipper here, dipping on some grizzly wide coat wintergreen. Come and talk about knives and why most people hate knives. Now, I have over 40 knives, 2 machetes, 2 daggers, and a sword. And when I tell people that, they either think I'm a criminal, I'm psychotic, or I'm just a retard for spending that much money on knives. Because I'm going to tell you now, knives and prices, they add up. They really do. But most of the knives I didn't really even pay for. Most of them were gifts. Some of them I had already laying around the house from my grandfather, and I just put them in my collection, keep them safe. And yeah, so I didn't really spend too much money on knives. I mean, I did spend a little bit, but it's nothing too expensive. I think the most I probably spent on knives over the years, or it was probably about $500 in knives, if not a little bit more. But knives aren't just made for killing people or self-defense, and they're definitely not made for committing crimes. And I see a lot of people who actually do use them for committing crimes and murders and robbing stores and all that. And some of them actually, it backfires on them. Like, they had a couple of guys try to rob a gas station. One had a knife. Little did he know that the cashier was actually an ex-Marine. So I thought that was pretty cool when they showed the security camera footage. Yeah, that dude didn't know what hit him. It was like that. And he was pretty much down, disarmed, and pretty much the cops arrived after he was disarmed, and they took him to jail. So that was a fairly lucky moment for the cashier, being he had the military background. Now, I don't recommend people to do that on a daily basis. If you see somebody robbing a store, it doesn't matter if you have a military background or not, don't intervene. Do not intervene, because that can cause a whole lot of problems for you, especially if they have a gun. But back on topic. Knives, to me, they're cool looking. They're a tool, or they're tools, shall I say. You can use them for hunting. You can use them around the house for different stuff like yard work. You can use them to cook with. You can even use them to open or cut stuff open. Like you can open boxes with them. You can open letters with them. You can break down boxes with them. Knives have so many uses that people forget to realize that, hey, knives aren't just for crimes and committing murders and whatnot. They're technically a tool. We've been using knives since the dawn of time, believe it or not. Cavemen used to create spears and whatnot, and that's how they hunted. Now, we have advanced over the years. Like, now we have guns, knives, spears, machetes, swords. We have it all. But back in that time, all they had to work with was rocks. They didn't really have any type of fancy metal, which there probably was metal, but they didn't know what to do with it. They were cavemen, for crying out loud. All they knew how to do was either kill or be killed. And I'm sure they didn't want to be killed, so they killed. It's hunted or be hunted. So yeah. And I'm drifting off the topic again. I'm getting into a fucking history lesson with you guys. Don't mind me. I like history, but this isn't about history. Well, it kind of is, considering I'm talking about knives. But, knives, they're a tool. You use them to hunt with. You can use them to cook with. Prepare your food. Just about every American, believe it or not, has used a knife some point in their life. Whether it's in their kitchen or out and about in town. Like, say if you get a new game. Say if you just bought Grand Theft Auto. You're probably using a knife right now to open it. So, yeah. If you have a knife, which just about every household has knives. Kitchen knives would be one classification of a tool. It's used for chefs to prepare food. But everybody uses a knife, and believe it or not, studies show that 90% of rednecks actually own a knife. They carry a knife. Hell, your grandfather may be even carrying a knife. It all depends on who the person is. Yeah, some people, they may not like knives. I love knives. But I've had friends who don't really care for knives. And that's really their opinion, and they respect my opinion on knives. I like them because they're cool, and knives, they come in all different shapes. And I'll show you here in a minute with the 2 mossy oak knives that I bought, or my sister bought for me as a Christmas present. But knives, you really shouldn't knock knives or diss knives, because just because one person uses it to commit a murder doesn't mean another person will. Another person may use it to hunt with. Now, to most people, killing an animal for food, like deer and whatnot, to them that's murder, which is completely fucking retarded, but I respect their opinion. I'm not gonna lie. Me, I'm a fisherman. I live southeast Louisiana. I'm not gonna say exactly where, because the people are fucking crazy. I don't need to go to jail for some psycho. But I used to do a lot of fishing down here, and I would always get snagged up on a log that I could not get unsnagged from. So we had to cut the line. And I've always, since I started fishing, I've always carried a knife with me. When I got my very first knife, I used to carry that thing everywhere. So it was awesome. But as I got more into fishing and whatnot, and I've always kept a knife on me. A knife is a must-have when you're fishing or hunting or even camping. A knife is a must-have. I know I said that twice, but I'm just making sure that you heard it the second time. So yeah. Now, like I said, I have 2 machetes. I don't know where the other one is at the moment. I think it's in the living room, hanging on the entertainment center, because I like keep one right in front of my bed in case if I need to hurry up and grab it. But this was my very first machete right here, and you can see this thing has seen hell. It's been to hell and back. It's actually fairly sharp because I used a file to sharpen it because, well, I trim the trees every once in a while, which I ain't going to have to worry about that at this time because being it's almost close to winter, and I can't believe how fast this year is going. It's like yesterday was January. Actually, no, yesterday was my birthday. Yeah, we'll use my birthday as an example. It's like, okay, yesterday was my birthday, and now we're in November. It's like, it was only 2 days apart, so that's how crazy it is. But, yeah, that machete right there, that thing has seen hell. So now we're going to go ahead and get into different knife shapes. Let's see, which one am I going to pull out? Alright. This is basically a Skinner style blade. And to most people, this is an unusual shape. And it also has a gut hook, which is a different shape from traditional knives, like the, take the USMC K-Bar for example. It has a clip point blade, which is really good, from what I heard. It's really good for stabbing. K-Bar is also good for slashing, which I wouldn't slash with a K-Bar. And then you have another type of blade, which is fairly similar to a katana. And it is a tanto point, which this one uses a tanto point. And this thing actually kind of looks pretty cool. The way it's actually got a steeper tanto point, or tanto, whichever you want to call it, than most traditional, like Gerber Evo Tanto or Tanto. I see a lot of people call it Tanto. I call it Tanto. It's really a mixed feeling with me. But this one has a steeper Tanto point. So, like, with most knives, it'll go the length of the blade. It'll have this little point right here. Then it'll actually come up to right here. But this one actually goes all the way up to here. So that's pretty cool. And I've seen one guy say this has a 6-inch blade. That is actually not true, because from your tip of your middle finger to your wrist, depending on who you are, me, it's 5 inches. And if you could see, it is not 6 inches. If it was 6 inches, it'll come to about right here, and it doesn't. So yeah. The same with the other knife. It's about 4 to 5 inches. Well, maybe not 5 inches, but it's about 4 inches overall. Maybe even a little bit less than that. But it doesn't exceed my wrist, so it's perfectly legal to carry. And yes, I can carry fixed blades in this state. And you know what's really surprising? I wanted to mention this in the other video, but I forgot to. Most cheaper knives that you see, like the little Winchester knives and some Mossy Oak knives, or just cheaper knives in general. That was weird. It just popped up a thing saying, warning, taking a video while charging may result in high temperature. I don't know. But, anyways, back to what I was saying. Most cheaper knives are not full tang. This is a full tang knife all the way. And I was like, that is awesome. And I'll just take it out of the sheath so you can see it again. It comes from right here down to here, and it is one solid piece of steel. It is not welded. It is not a rat tail. That's what the USMC K-Bar in general uses, is what they call a rat tail knife because it tapers. But this is a full-fledged full tang knife. And I'm actually digging the handles on it. The handles are actually fairly comfortable, because I don't know if you can see this right here, but it has little grooves where your fingers can actually fit nice and comfortable in. And the camo itself is pretty wicked. So, I'm going to get to the main part of this video because it's at 11 minutes and I'm freaking tired. So, the reason why most people hate knives is because they've either been threatened with a knife. It has a lot to do with the how knives actually got known amongst crime lords, whatever you want to call them. Criminals, there we go. It has a lot to do with criminals. Maybe someone's loved one got killed by a knife. There's a lot of variations, but they need to look at the positive things about knives, not just the negative things. Like, everybody will say, oh, well, you don't need knives. Knives are pointless. No, they're not pointless. Because if you look on this box, it says that it includes 2 knives and a bonus sheath. You have a Sedgwick knife and a camouflage hunting knife, which actually, they're both camouflage. Or the handles are. Which, that's what actually drew me to the knives, was the camouflage handles. I love knives with camouflage. Anything camo, I'm all for it. Camouflage knives, camouflage bow, camouflage gun. Really, anything that has camouflage. Like, there's a tag from one of my shirts that I got a while back. Camouflage camo cans, or camouflage grizzly cans. The camouflage actually drew me to this can. And I'm not really much of a long cut person, but I will dip it. But that's mainly the reason why most people hate knives, is because knives are known with criminals. They have always have been. And it just popped up again, but yeah. So, here's my opinion. I know that we have rights and whatnot, but with criminals being able to get access to knives and whatnot without a background check, I think that's complete absolute bullshit. Now, I'm not trying to say that they need to pass a law saying that you have to have a background check when purchasing a knife, because that would be fucking stupid. I mean, if you're trying to rob somebody and they have a gun and the criminal has a knife, who do you think's going to win? Obviously the gun. So, just keep it the way it is, because if a criminal is stupid enough to try and rob somebody with a gun, well, then so be it. That'll be the day they'll most likely die. Anyways, guys, this is Bass Head Dipper signing out.